welcome back to another edition of The Morning You.
Yes, people. Guan, what's going on? Welcome back to United View Wednesday. It's hump day. It's hump day. It's usually the day we should be playing games. And Tuesday, maybe. And Thursday. It's the middle of the week where we ain't really got nothing going on because all the other teams are playing in Europe. But we are sitting there. But in life, it's hump day. You know what I mean? If it's work, you build up to that hump day, and then you're coming back down again for the weekend to build up to the back end of the week and stuff like that. But I've got a packed show for you, solo settings today. You lot know how it is. We're going to be talking about our Man United finally turning the corner, but I wanted to give you kind of like my Flex's view on that point. Really, I should have built this as a Flex's view. Maybe I might change the thumbnail afterwards. Maybe. Why not? You can do them kind of things. You can just change it on the spot. There's no rule. Shout out Specs. I want to be talking about that. I want to be talking about some of the individuals and some of the things that need to stay constant around what's going on with us changing our form around. There, we're going to look at that. I want to talk about Lisandro Martinez coming back as well. What's that going to look like when Lisandro Martinez touches down? You know, what's that going to look like, of how long it's going to take, what he's going to bring, how important he is. I need to talk about that. I also want to talk about form in general, you know, and there was a little bit on Harry Maguire. Me and KG touched on it towards the end of yesterday's show, but I wanted to go into that into a little bit more detail as well. Big up yourselves as well in the chat. Smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to United View if you haven't done so already. And it is about turning a corner, turning over a new leaf. You can do that in life. You can do that in work. You can do that in sport. But you can also do it with your health. And here's how. Today's video is sponsored by our friends at Oxford Natural and their all-new natural supplement, Optimum Day and Night. Thousands across the UK, USA and beyond are smashing their health goals with Oxford Natural. Optimum Day gives you steady energy, curbs your cravings and keeps your metabolism firing all day. Optimum Night helps you relax, get restorative sleep, recover and keep burning fat while you rest. It's not a magic pill, but it will help you reach your health goals. Check out some of the incredible results. Two of our own, OWEN, lost over 100 pounds in 10 months, and KG dropped 30 pounds in 4 months. In 8 months, football legend Michael Owen lost 35 pounds, and Robbie from AFTV, Don Robbie, lost over 80 pounds. And in 6 months, Anita, an award-winning immigration lawyer, lost 44 pounds, and Linda, a law firm executive, lost over 50 pounds. No gimmicks, no needles, just results. Oxford Natural, let's get to work. Yes, let's get to work. It's not just Owen with the smooth transitions, yeah? Not just Owen with the smooth segues, but like you say there, you guys know what the deal is by now. If you don't know already, scan the QR code over there. See it there? Right there in the corner. Or there's a link in the video description below to subscribe and save up to 70% off your first order of your Oxford Natural supplements. You've got your Optimum Day. That's going to help you with the fat burn. It's going to help you with the sugar cravings to stop those peaks and troughs and keep that kind of level-headed sugar vibes throughout the day to help you have control of your eating. You got your Optimum Night. Yes, there you go. It's green. There you go. The green screen's making it see-through right now, but I promise you it is green. The capsules aren't. They're white. They're white, so don't think it's mold. It's not mold. The packaging is just green. That's going to help you with your sleep to get into that deep sleep as well. And remember, you've got to be having a balanced lifestyle. You've got to be working out. You've got to be eating good, fixing your diet. You're not going to be able to take these and just be losing weight. And if you've got a specific problem, just sleep, you can just get your Optimum Night. If you want stuff with your fat burning stuff and your weight loss stuff, that's your Optimum Day. So don't say we don't help you out. Up to 70% off in the description below and the QR code. Shout out to Steffi. She says sleep is so important. It is. It's probably one of the most important things when it comes to diet and exercise as well. So there you go. And don't listen to Show. There you go. He's just being sarcastic. That is Show. He is definitely lying. Tabrez says, good morning, family. Actually, I'm going to shout you, Tabrez. Might have a little something for you. If you know, you know. So yeah, I'll shout you after this show, bro. I started a little chat here from R10. And R10 said, you know, what would turning a corner look like for you, Flex, realistically? Because I want to talk about what it is, what it means for different people. And some of the things that are happening with the squad that I am picking up on, because it's not just all negative. All of that stuff has been said. We have to look at what we're seeing, and we have to look forward. In all honesty, in terms of the phrase, "Are United finally turning a corner?" I think it's too early to say a definitive yes. That's what I would say. I think it's way too early to say it. I say way too early. We're not far off finding out. That's what I would say. We're not far off finding out. Beating Liverpool, is huge. Of course, it's huge. It's huge in isolation. It's huge in terms of the confidence for this group of players. It's big in terms of a statement win for Amorim, a big win against a top 6 team away from home. I know we beat City last year, which was a statement win as well, but Liverpool is one up from that, having obviously not won there in 9 years. So all of them things are true. But for it to be the turning of a corner, it's very simple. We have to see more games. We have to see more games. We have to see more progress. Turning a corner isn't winning one game. It isn't. It can never be. It can never be. Also, having a crisis is not just losing one game. I think when we have been losing games, it's been multiple. It's not just because we lost the odd game. When Man City lost a couple of games at the beginning of the season, it's a bit of an anomaly. They've now gone on a good run. When Arsenal lost against Liverpool, it was a bit of an anomaly. They put it back. They ain't lost since. So, I don't think you can say that one game determines anything. It's always off of a collection of games. The whole reason we've got to this negative space of where we hadn't won back-to-back games, the manager's under pressure, people disagree with the future of Ruben, people are cussing the players, people are saying nothing's changed. The whole reason we got there wasn't off of one game, was it? It was off of 50 in all competitions from half of last year, well, this time last year, basically with Ruben, right through to the present day for the first few games of this season, which didn't start good. Now we're in a period where you look at the last few games, you go, we beat Chelsea, but then lost against Brentford, but then beat Sunderland and then beat Liverpool. So you're saying that you're starting to improve the form a little bit overall, which is key. If you're going to start turning the corner, you've got to look at it like that. And when I look at our form, it's not the worst. So Liverpool win, Sunderland win, Brentford loss, Chelsea won 2-1. I keep thinking that was 2-0, but I forget they scored near the end. 2-1. So that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3 wins out of the last 4. Lost against City, but beat Burnley. So 1, 2, that's 6. That's 6. The last 6 games before that, what happened? That was Grimsby, Fulham. So let's go from Brentford. That's 6 games, and we've won 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we won 4 out of the last 6, which ain't bad. It's not bad. That, let's be honest, that's not bad. That is representing something that, could turn into turning the corner. It could. But the key here now is these next batch of games is Brighton. Gary Neville was saying it. You have to go on a run. You have to show something. You have to show that this wasn't just luck. Like Z says, not bad for our level. It's not. It's actually not bad for our level. And Z says it's not one game though. Didn't we beat Sunderland? So it's 2, not 1. I agree with that. I'm talking about in isolation. So absolutely, we've won back-to-back games. So that is 2. Take your point, Z. 100%. It is 2 games on the bounce, but it's 4 in the last 6. And I'm saying 4 in the last 6 is actually pretty good. Like you said, not bad for our level. But I think we've been bad for so long. To say that we have finally turned a corner, I think that's premature. I do think that's premature. I mean, Z, you say all 3 games are winnable. Fair play. I do agree with you. Would you say we've turned a corner? What are you guys saying in the chat? Have Man United turned a corner? And I think the feeling is that we might be able to. I think the feeling is you take the positivity out of Liverpool and you take that into the Brighton game. There's a feeling that you could have turned a corner, but we haven't seen the evidence yet. Do you know what I'm saying? We haven't seen the evidence yet. What we haven't seen is, playing against Brighton at home and getting that W again against another team that we usually struggle against. Forest away, Forest's first home game in the league with Sean Dyche is going to be us. It's going to be us. First home game under a new manager. You talk about new manager bounce. Sean Dyche at home. First game, Man United. We don't know. Spurs haven't beat them in ages. Ages. I can't remember the last time we did beat Spurs. When's the last time we beat Spurs? Scholars. Was it that time when we absolutely battered them and it should have been more than 2-0? Was it that time? No, it was under Ollie. Was the last time we beat them? Which one came first? Was the last time we beat them when we got Nuno sacked and we won that one? Or was it the one where, yeah, Ronaldo, yeah, I think it was then. I do think it was then. But there was one where we beat them and we beat them 2-0, but it should have been way more. I think there was in the purple kit. Eric Ten Hag's first season. There you go. Yeah, when Ronaldo walked out the stadium. There you go. Yeah. Oh yeah, because I think Alanga came on for him, didn't he? And then he just walked out, walked down the touchline, drove off. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I think that's a big issue. We don't beat them. You know what I mean? Someone said there. Yeah, Ten Hag 2-0. It is that one. It is Ten Hag 2-0. That's what I'm saying. Ten Hag 2-0. So again, these are the games where you got to look at to say, have you turned a corner? Spurs' home form's dreadful. Absolutely dreadful. They don't win a lot at home. Everyone seems to be doing well there. Can we go take advantage of that? It's in 3 games' time, so steady on. You know what I mean? But what my point is you can clearly see there are so many questions that need to be answered. So many questions that need to be answered. Let's be honest. It's true. It's so true that there's so many questions that need to be answered. So we can't sit here and say that we've turned a corner. I do think it's clear, though, what we do have to be is honest with ourselves. We have to be honest with ourselves. And that is saying that, and I don't care, it's not agendas or just because someone's had a negative view or a positive view. I'm saying, you know what? Think about what you've been seeing. What have I been happy with in the last few games, like in our performances? I would say there has been improvement in our performances in the last few games. I think that Brentford, obviously, that was a throwback Man United, so there was no improvement there. That again, and this is what I'm saying. It's hard when you're talking about trying to see the improvement, but you see that Brentford performance, you see that City performance. They were within the last 6 games. Do you know what I mean? So within the last 6 games, we've had Brentford and we've had City, but the other 4 games have been wins, and they've been good wins. You know, Sunderland, I think we were very good. Especially in that first half, should have been more. Second half, we just, game management and saw the game out. No real trouble. Burnley was a bit annoying because we shouldn't have conceded the two stupid goals that we did. We should have been out of sight by half time. Chelsea, I think we were good. People talk about them going down to 10 men and it changed the game. But last time I checked, you got to start on the front foot. We made them go down to 10 men. So that's good. And it's Chelsea and they're a good team. So that was good. And then, of course, you get to Anfield and we all know how that went. And we all know how we had to ride our luck and have different types of minerals. But it was a different way to win. But we did adapt. And I think actually Jamie Carragher did a really good piece about why going long in that game was still the right thing. And this way, I do give Amorim his props, because what we were all saying before the game was the fact that Šeško's not starting. That shows a lack of trust. How are we going to go long now? Does that mean we're going to start playing out from the back? And Jamie Carragher, if you haven't seen it, make sure you guys go check it out on Monday Night Football and the clips on Sky Sports. It was brilliant. He's basically, and it was brilliant, but it wasn't rocket science. He was saying that, well, like we clearly saw, the game plan was still to go long, but the 4 midfielders, or the 4 players, should I say, the 2 10s and the 2 central midfielders, what they were doing, or including Cunha, the striker, actually, so the 5 of them, what they were doing was basically either half challenging for the first ball and saying, we'll stay compact, we'll stay in this zone underneath the ball and pick up the seconds. And that's what was happening time and time again. So that was a very, very good tactic from Amorim, because he said, had we played Šeško, he felt like, it would have been easy for Liverpool to read. And at no point did we try to go for flick-ons and have runners going beyond in anticipation of flick-ons. What we did was stay in front of the ball and wait for second balls, which I was worried about that during the game because I wasn't sure if we could do that for 90 minutes. But we did. We were able to do it for 90 minutes. He even picked up on the throw-ins as well. What we did from throw-ins was mark man-to-man really, really tight so that they couldn't play quick throw-ins and play forward and let them settle. That then transpired into the dying embers of the game, whereby Szoboszlai has to take a throw, but because we've been pressing the whole game and not leaving anyone open and didn't slack, he had to throw it backwards. And that made the keeper have to rush and kick it up in the air. Then we won the ball back, second ball. So Amorim is making changes. You know, I think the way that he is adapting within the formation now. I think the way that we beat Sunderland isn't the way that we beat Liverpool, you know, and rightly so. Do you know what I'm saying? Rightly so. You can't play the same against everyone. We're not good enough to. We're not good enough to be on the front foot and pin Liverpool back and go pressing. And actually, back to Jamie Carragher's point, he also made a good point about the trouble when we did go and press Liverpool. The couple of moments where we pressed, he has a sequence of play where he shows Mbeumo jumping, going tight. He shows Cunha trying to press, I think Mason Mount. They play one ball through the middle of that press and they're out and they're gone. And that's where the Gakpo chance came from, where he hit the post. There was another chance that came from that where they worked the ball to the left-hand side and Gakpo crossed it, it hit Bruno, then it hit the post. So, you know, the times where we did press, we had big problems, and the times where we sat off and was more compact and resolute, we were better. So back to my point, Amorim is making adaptations and is having different tactics for different teams. That's good. That's good, you know. Gary Neville said we have a top 6 square Forts Flex. Oh, squad. I was going to say. It has to be the aim. It has to be the aim. I think when we did our predictions, or when I did my predictions for the beginning of the season, I said top 6 at best. I think our ceiling is top 6. That's with us showing the improvement that I thought we would hopefully show, which hopefully we are. That's with us with the transfer window that we had. And that's with us having one game a week. I would like to think that we can get into the top 6, you know. I don't think that's unreasonable. Top 8, maybe. Okay, fairs. Slices of Sib says top 8. But I think if we can go on a little bit of a run and get confident, why can't we aim for top 6? I don't see that being a big problem. Aiming for that, you know. Of course, you've got Arsenal, City, Liverpool, so you know that you're assuming that they're going to be the top 3. You know, Bournemouth won't go away right now. Chelsea are going to be up there. Spurs are going to be up there. Newcastle United are going to get going. Aston Villa are on a good run of form now. They've won 5 and 5 in all comps, but all like the last 3 in the Prem. You know, Palace aren't going away. So there's some teams, the Sunderland are. I think we're competing in the top 6 with those teams I just mentioned. Chelsea, Spurs. By the time it's all said and done, I think Chelsea, Spurs, Newcastle, definitely, Villa. So that's 4. And then you have to take Bournemouth seriously. I think they're going to have a really good season. Until we see some evidence of them dropping off, you've got to take them seriously and see them as a top 6 challenger. And Palace, they just keep finding a way. You never know with Brighton as well. They're a bit up and down, but they might not go away as well. They're a difficult team and they're up there. So, yeah, man, there's a lot of good teams in the Premier League. And Sunderland are gate crashing that party at the moment. We'll see how they get on. But I think top 6 is the ceiling. I think that's the highest we can finish. If we finished higher than that, I'd be stunned. I really would. I would be like, wow, I didn't see that coming. But even for top 6, look at the teams we've got to go against that I just mentioned. We have to be better than them teams to get in the top 6, or as good as, you know, because say Chelsea get 4th and Spurs get 5th. We have to be better than Newcastle. We have to be better than Aston Villa. You've got to be better than Bournemouth. You've got to be better than these teams. And that's going to be difficult. You know what I mean? I know a lot of them are playing Europe as well, so that helps. That helps. Newcastle United playing Europe, Spurs playing Europe, Chelsea playing Europe, even Crystal Palace playing. Everyone's playing Europe apart from us. But it's going to be tough. Completely disagree, Flex says show. Why can't we finish 5th when we literally have one game a week in a very poor league? Why are we settling for less? All right, 6th, 5th, 1 point up, no problem. That's fine, cool. If you can finish 6th, you can argue that you could potentially finish 5th because it's you know, a couple of points in it. So fine, I'm not going to argue against that. That's fine. But I think around 5th to 6th then is our ceiling. I think. But then how far do you keep going? Then you say, well, if you think you can finish 5th, you could probably finish 4th. Then it just keeps going. Oh, if you think you finish top 4, then why can't you get 3rd? Do you know what I mean? It just goes on and on. But I think realistically, what we're agreeing on is that we think we can get into Europe. Fleck, you think we can beat Bournemouth and Brighton? Well, I think we'll beat Brighton on Saturday. I think we can. Bournemouth, whenever we play them. I mean, these are tough games. That's what I'm saying. This is back to the original question. This is why we can't say we're fixed. This is why we can't say we've turned a corner, because we don't know. We have to see the games play out. The only way we can say we've turned a corner is if we see these games play out. It's about consistency. It's about consistency, and that is something we haven't shown. It looks like we might be able to start showing it. We have the perfect opportunity. We've won 2 games in a row for the first time in God knows how long. We got a home game against a tough Brighton team, then an away game against a tough, maybe rejuvenated Forest team under Sean Dyche, completely different outlook, and then a tough away day at Spurs where we don't win. Even though their home form's poor, we don't win there. Aminor says, Flex, can you bring back Ralph Haley, DJ Talks to UV? Yeah, them guys, man, when they're free, definitely. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. There's no reason why not. There's no reason why not. Shout out to the girl Haley, man. She's our people. Shout out Ralph. I haven't seen Ralph in a hot minute as well, man. Big up to Ralph. It's not Ralph, it's Raf as well. Not Ralph. And of course, DJ's always there, man. So, you know what I mean? We're doing more match views in the studio now as well. It was a good vibes the other day. So yeah, 100%. We definitely can. And you guys can get involved anytime they want. They're part of the family, you know what I mean? Also, I wanted to talk about Mbeumo and Cunha as a pair. That's what I think we need to talk about now in a bit more detail. First of all, before we do that, what's the like saying? What are you lot saying today? How are you lot doing? So we got 651 viewers. Let's push that up. Let's go. Let's keep pushing, guys. Make sure you share the video. We could do better. What I will say is, though, is again, this back end of YouTube, my thing's just moving mad. I can't say how many likes we got. Someone let me know how much likes we got. Because the viewer activity, something went wrong with the purple chimp. I don't get it. It just won't. But it just won't update. So I need you lot's help with that. How many likes, mods? Let me know. And then we can push as well. And get onto that as well. 123 likes only. Let's come on, people. Push up the likes, man. Push up the likes. I'm going to check back in another 10 or 15 minutes or so with the likes and see where we're at and how we're doing. Cunha and Mbeumo. Listen, man, I think these man, are really starting to show what they're about. I think the way they complement each other. I think the fact that you got in Mbeumo somebody who goes long and runs and plays with intensity and is strong on the ball, great technique and keeps the ball really well, versus another one who's got that dog in him. You know what I'm saying? In Cunha, we saw that at Liverpool. And I think with Matheus Cunha, it proves that the stats don't always tell the full story. Of course, goals and assists, we bought him for. We need to score goals. He needs to contribute to goals. That's his primary function, of course. I get that. And listen, I'm a big defender of Bruno when you use the stats to back Bruno and say, listen, this guy does it all the time stats-wise as a creative player, because that is what he is. But I think that players can be different things and play just as important role in teams when it's not all about GA. And I think that Cunha, what he brings is that much-needed physicality in that area of the pitch, that much-needed ball carrying, progressing the ball via dribbling. Yes, he can pick a pass, he can switch play really quickly. He's got good technique. We know he can score goals. We know he knows where the back of the net is. That just hasn't happened for him yet. He's not really even getting much shots. But it's what he can do is be fantastic for us on the ball. And that helps the team so much. It helps the team so much. And, somebody did that comparison comp, didn't they? The other day with Garnacho, stinker and hooked in the first half against Forest, when Chelsea were poor, actually, before they battered Forest 3-0 in the second half when Maresca made all the changes. They were poor in the first half. But Garnacho was just doing Garnacho things, things that it was like a carbon copy of him being at Man United. And you look at what Cunha was able to do in the last 20 minutes at Anfield in particular. It's just something that Rashford and Garnacho would not do. Now, Rashford's a different entity because, I've always said he is good. As we're seeing at Barca, he's killing it. I think the El Clasico is coming up next. That's going to be great to see Rashford playing in that. I'm going to check that out. But, he's an out-and-out winger. He's not really an inside 10 back to goal. That's not his style. With the style of football that we're trying to play, Matheus Cunha is perfect for what we're trying to do. His strength, his doggedness, his aggression. And remember, guys, they tried to tell us this guy walks too much. Do you remember that? They tried to tell us that he walks too much and his attitude's shit. And it hasn't been a great start to life at Man United in terms of the results, And he looks like a team player. He's putting his body on the line. He's running hard. He's playing with intensity. He don't look like a player who's walking around to me. Does he look like a player who's got the stats for the highest walking distances or whatever? Not at all. And this is why we have to watch football with our eyes. You know, they try to, shit on his character. They try to tell us that he just walks and stuff like that. And we haven't seen anything like that. He's been very humble. He's running a lot. He's running a lot. He just needs now is to add a few goals. That's what he needs. He just needs to get that run of goals going, or assists or be goal involvements. That's what he needs. And in Mbeumo, I think he's been our best player this season so far. I really, really do. I think he's even in the games that we've lost, he still looked like the only person who's going to do something, and you just get this level from him that he just won't go below. He's physically strong. I think defenders fear him. They know they're in for a long afternoon, long evening when he's there. And I respect it. I'm like, yeah, I see it. Every time the ball goes his side or I see him get the ball, I'm comfortable with him getting it. I'm like, he'll be fine. He's not going to lose the ball. He's not going to make a bad decision. Yeah, don't get me wrong. The execution might not be there. Shot might be off target, or he might choose the wrong choice, the odd time. But by and large, he makes good decisions. And I'm here for it. I'm here for it for him. Big up Base Kid. The Hardcore Casual says, I come in peace today, Flex. We've called a truce, Base Kid. Called a truce, brother. He says, serious question. If not for the Grimsby game, would people view this season as negatively as they have so far? It's a good question, bro. I would say not as bad, because obviously Grimsby is a new low. So I'll be 100% honest with you, bro. I would say no. They wouldn't see it as negatively as we have. Grimsby is a real bad one to take, a real bad one. But like Wrap Up Heaven says there, not as negatively, but still negative, because I think the manner of the defeats I think were really alarming. And here's why. The way we lost against City, the way we lost against Brentford, and the way we played against Fulham, they were so reminiscent of last season. And I think that is difficult to shake off, the manner of those defeats. And also, when we beat Burnley at home, there was again shades of last season in the second half, silly mistakes, doing things that we shouldn't be doing. And was it not for that penalty, I'll be honest, I don't think we would have scored in that game. And if we would have got a 2-2 against Burnley, again, it would have been negative. Now, the first half against Burnley, we should have been out of sight. 100% agree with that. But we showed, again, traits of last season. So to answer your question, I think people still would view it as negative because of the type of losses that we were subject to against Brentford, against City, and at moments against Burnley in the second half, and definitely after the first 20 minutes against Fulham. It was really poor, really poor. We scored a lucky own goal that hit off the back of Martinez, but the goal that we conceded for them was poor. Obviously, Bruno missing the pen at 0-0 as well. He's saying we were lucky to beat Burnley in the end. We shouldn't have been in that position because we could have been out of sight, but in the end we got lucky because we wasn't exactly battering down the door, with Dubravka making save after save after save in the last 10-15 minutes of that game. We looked quite frustrated. I remember it vividly. I sat in my seat thinking we were just pushing boxes, crosses into the box and hoping one would stick, and then we finally got the breakthrough with the pen. Giles says that's such a negative view. We missed 2 penalties this season. That would have changed those games. We've had many periods of playing good football, much better than last season. I agree with you about the level of performance. I don't know if you just tuned in, Giles. I said that earlier in the show. I said what I have seen in the last 6 games in particular is that we are playing better. I agree with that. And yeah, we did miss 2 penalties. But if you're saying that we missed 2 penalties, you're also not talking about, the absolute monstrosity of defending and getting absolutely outplayed for the whole game against Brentford. You can't ignore that. Yeah, okay, the penalty could have changed everything and we could have gone on to win that game because they would have went down to 10 men and Bruno would have scored. But that means that before that, though, we got completely outplayed by Keith Andrews. Something is wrong. Something is wrong. Do you know what I mean? You can't just forget that. I think that's being too positive to forget that we got absolutely battered for 65 minutes before that. And I think it's too negative to forget we got absolutely battered and destroyed by City. But I do take your point. We have played better, bro. And this is what I'm saying. I just think it has to be a balance, man. I do. You know? I think that, we have to just... And this is why we have to take it game by game. This is why we can't really get involved with we've definitely turned a corner. I mean, listen, if you want to, that of course, that's fine. A lot of people are seeing it as we are. We have turned a corner. I just think it's too early. But Cunha and Mbeumo, back to them, I think are massive, massive positives. Lamans, I think, is a massive, massive positive. I was so, I don't know, just reluctant. I say reluctant, not reluctant to play him, but cautious. I was very, very cautious, guys, about Sonny Lamans because, like I said, he's coming from Royal Antwerp. You're not sure about him, playing at this level. Obviously, he came in, didn't start immediately, and then coming off the back of the loss to Brentford and then started against Sunderland. And he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant, man. Like it's like finally we got someone who just looks calm. Do you know what I mean? He just looks quite reserved. He looks like he doesn't want to be the main character. His mechanics and his basic goalkeeping fundamentals look very sound. And that's a big positive. That's a big positive. So big up to him. He's obviously going to be the number one. And the other one's Ahmad. The other one is Ahmad. That's the last person I'm going to talk about before we move on a little bit. Ahmad is just so important to that right-hand side. Like that right-hand side needs to be locked in now as Ahmad and Mbeumo. I don't care what game it is. Those two need to be non-negotiables. Obviously AFCON's going to come and they're both going to go. But until then, them two need to play every game. They need to start every game. There's one game a week. It has nothing to do with fatigue or this, that, and the other, or this team play these guys. So maybe, no, they're too good not to start every single game. And together, they just give so much down that side. The opposition team, you don't want to see those two overlapping, interchanging. Ahmad in 1v1 situations is good. And actually, early on in the season, actually, even when we did pick up a couple of wins, Ahmad was the one where we're like, I just want him to find a little bit of last season's form before he got injured, and he couldn't really do it. He couldn't really find it, but he looks like he's finding it now. He got an assist for Mbeumo, which is a fantastic link up for them. I think he got an assist. Didn't he get an assist against Sunderland as well? Who scored against Sunderland? Mason Mount and Sesko. Oh no, did he get an assist? I don't think he got an assist, but he was very good. He was very good. He won the penalty against Burnley as well in the last few minutes. And then obviously he had that bereavement where he was off for a couple of games. So, but since he's come back from that, in a tough time for himself personally, clearly, he's been brilliant. He's been brilliant. Bereavement affects everyone, Flex. I know. That's what I'm saying. But I'm talking about before the bereavement, bro. I'm talking about before the bereavement. But I'm saying that after his bereavement, he's been brilliant, bro. That's what I'm saying. And of course, bereavement can affect people in loads of different ways. I'm just saying before that, it was, you wanted him to find that bit of, magic, and he wasn't quite finding it. Yeah, it was Mbeumo. Yeah, Mbeumo got the assist for Mason Mount. It was fantastic. And I think Dallo got the assist for Sesko, didn't he? Ashodu says, Flex, that's my question though. Is it dangerous to lock position in? That's how managers like Slot want to clock our play. What about Mazraoui? I just think with those two, Ash, I think with Ahmad and Mbeumo, I think those are the like two that you can like lock in and be like, they're playing. I think when people are very good, I think it's okay to say you expect them to play. Do you know what I mean? It's like locking in the position of Saka, he's going to play. Locking in the position of Rice, he's going to play. Locking in the position of Palmer when he's fit, he's going to play. Locking in the position of Reece James, he's going to play. Locking in Caicedo. Like the best players need to play. They need to be some of the first names on the team sheet, if not the. I don't think that's dangerous. I think it's dangerous to lock in the whole starting 11 every single game. I agree with that. Ash. That's more dangerous. But I think in the case of these two, because you need some level of consistency. You need to have more or less the same team every game with a few changes here and there. You don't want to be making change after change after change. Otherwise, it's too difficult to build consistency. And it's not like we've got loads of games. It's not like you need that rotation to keep everyone fresh. We've got a week between every single game. Look at everyone playing their games in Europe. So jealous, bro. We're just there twiddling our thumbs. But on the flip side, these guys are fresh. So why can't we play the same team every game or not far off, the winning team more often than not? I think apart from a few different changes here and there, like, Martinez is coming back soon. So there's games that are few and far between. You got to maybe manage him back because he's been out for ages. But other than that, you're good. Do you know what I mean? Even someone like Casemiro, who came off with cramp after 60 minutes, he got a whole week of chilling, not playing. And as we saw last year, there was a lot of changes because we were playing every 3 days, no time in the training field. You look at the injuries that we remember when we were injury FC. Injuries, don't jinx it. Injuries have seemed to have slowed down. We had we thought we were cursed again in the Burnley game when Mason Mount and Cunha got done, but it wasn't that bad. Lil, I'm with you, man. It's dead not having Europe, man. Even, bro, it's that bad. Even if it was in the Conference League, bro, just anything. What the hell, Dan? I'm even mad. Yeah, no jinx flexes, Liam, but it does seem that way, innit? It does seem that way. I have to be honest, bro. It does seem that way. So I think that locking in certain positions, I think needs to happen. Well, let's talk about locking in positions. Who's the people that should be the first name on the team sheet? Obviously, Sonny Lummons. I'm saying Ahmad right wing back. I'm saying De Ligt needs to start every game. Now, here's the interesting one between Yoro and Shaw and Maguire. Who should be locked in, guys? When Martinez gets back fit, should he be the automatic left centre-back? Luke Shaw's on a good run. Let's be honest. My belly's rumbling. I'm hungry. Luke Shaw's on a good run. Shaw and Yoro, saying. Not Dallo. Absolutely not. Wait, Dallo on the left. But then Dallo and Dorgy, it's mad. Left wing-back's a problem for us. Depends on the opponent. I agree. Yoro, Martinez, Yoro. Because I'd like to see basically Yoro start every game. But I do have to remember, the kid's 19. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't mind that. I don't mind him developing. I don't mind not all the pressure being on him. Yoro at left centre-back, Mazraoui at right centre-back. And De Ligt in the middle. I think it depends on the game. I'm happy for that back three to be interchangeable with one game a week. I think you keep De Ligt as the constant. I think he needs to start every single one. I think as long as Luke Shaw's fit, because Martinez is so far off being, completely fit, Luke Shaw will be one of the first names on the team sheet. And then I think it's that other centre-back spot, depending on who we're playing, is the one that's up for grabs, as we've seen. Sometimes Yoro will start, sometimes Maguire will start. But I think De Ligt is the one who will start most games, as well as Shaw. Left wing back is up for grabs between Dallo and Dorgu, clearly. Dallo just has been so bad. I'd probably just go with Dorgu at the minute. But even him, he's good physically. Like, even when he came on, he's good in the tackle. He's good physically. He just needs to improve at the top end of the pitch. We just don't have it. We need like an Ahmad-like player on the opposite side. Someone maybe right-footed cutting in who used to be a winger. Like we were talking about the Semenyo thing. We need to really improve there. What about Heaven? Missed that kid playing. Says Super Arch. Says, what about Heaven? Heaven's, he's one for the future. I think it's difficult. It's going to be difficult for him to get games this season because we only got one game a year. That's one game a year. It feels like one game a year. One game a week. So if we're honest, it's going to be difficult for him to have development this year. The only reason why he played last year was because there was a lot of injuries and a lot of games. And he showed what he can do. Definitely, man started against Arsenal. Man started in some of the European games at home that were big pressure games. Was it like quarterfinal or semi-final? Did he start at home? I remember him starting a Europa League game at home. Someone put it in the chat. So, yeah, he didn't start a ton of games last year. And then he got injured as well. So, but he showed some good composure. Shows he's got a long way to go, even on pre-season. He's a young kid, got a lot to do, got a lot to work on. But I like him. But I think that he's not going to be able to get playing until maybe next season and we're in Europe, because this year is just too important to be kind of maybe taking the risk with the youngsters. I don't think Amorim is going to do that this year. Yeah, Diego Leon. I don't think we should get too carried away with him, guys. I was told by the club, even when he came in, that the thoughts of him is being in the under 21s, and building up his experience, building up his acclimatizing to this country, to this club, to this league, to this football. So there's that. The same with Cheeto. Cheeto's the same thing. They said that he wasn't even supposed to play last year. It was just injuries, and they had to throw these guys in. We still haven't seen Sekou Kone. Obviously, he got injured with a fractured cheekbone, wasn't it? Before that, didn't he get another injury as well, or was that the same injury? I think he's back from that injury now. But again, he's in the under 21s as well. So they're very much ones for the futures, guys. Especially when we've only got one game a week. These kids ain't going to get a chance to play. They're not. Amanor says, Flex, I watched Arsenal last night. I was jealous, bro. 100%. Their man are flying. They look super strong. They look super, super strong. Now, we'll find out what happens with them in the back end of the season, where it really counts. But from now to the back end of the season, they're going to be flying. They're not going to lose many games at all. They look excellent last night. They battered Atletico Madrid. And you see what happened when Atletico Madrid went to Liverpool. You know what I mean? Didn't they get that back to 2-2, and then Van Dijk scored in the last minute, 3-2, hanging on. You know what I mean? Arsenal dusted 4-0. They're just a different beast right now. Arsenal, different beast. But yeah, back to our teams. Yeah, we've got to lock in these players. That's the back four. Bruno's locked in. I don't think there's any point having a conversation about Kobe and Ugarte. It's Casemiro, isn't it? Casemiro's our best central midfielder. So them two are locked in. Now the front three is interesting. Who should be locked in, guys? Who should be locked in? Should we be getting back to basics and playing our striker? Should it be Sesko, Cunha, and Mbeumo? Mbeumo's definitely locked in. Is Cunha locked in? You look at Mason Mount. He's kind of been locked in because the manager really, really likes him. Always plays him if he can. I think, Raphael depends on the game. And Mbeumo definitely locked in. And I think the other two is up for grabs depending on the game. I think you're right, guys. So how many guys was that's locked in? That's Ahmad. That's Shaw. At the moment, he is locked in. That's De Ligt. And Maguire and Yoro are swapping in and out. Dallo seems to be locked in, but it's between him and Dorgu, so they're fighting for it. So that's 3. Bruno, Casemiro, that's 5. And Mbeumo, that's 6. So back to, was there a super chat? Who was the person that was just saying about, is it dangerous to lock in too much? That's 6 out of the start. And Lamens, there you go. So that's 7. So we've locked in 7 out of 11 players. That's not bad. And there's 4 that's depending on the game. I think we need to go down that route. That means your core of your team, there's 7 guys. Yeah. Mainu is locked out. There's 7 of your guys that you're basically saying are automatic starters. And I think that's fair. And I think the rest of it can be down to the game. And like Dub says there, Mount is 100% starting. I mean, he likes him. He does like him. You know what I mean? Sure ain't locked in, Flex. Let's be real, says Ash. Well, for now he is. He's been locked in. Well, he started every single game this season, obviously only because Martinez is injured. So I hear you that. I hear that. When Martinez gets up to speed, though, which is still going to be, the guy's been out for so long, and we only got 1 game a week. So with only 1 game, if we were playing more games so that he could get game time in midweek games, he could play in a little Carabao Cup game, etc. It would be a lot easier for him to get up quicker. But right now, I think Luke Shaw's going to be locked in for the foreseeable, because to get him up to speed in terms of Martinez, it's going to take ages, bro. I think it's going to take I'll talk about him in a minute, actually, because he's coming back soon. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about him in a bit more detail in a sec. But yeah, so there's 7 players locked in. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. 7 players locked in, and then the rest is depending on the game. That's all good. Speaking of Lisandro Martinez, he's back soon. He's due back soon. There was a piece I was going to talk about. I think I bookmarked it. Where was it? Yeah, there it is there. It's from the Mail. I think it was probably Chris Wheeler there. So Lisandro Martinez is expected to join his teammates in full training this week. Ruben even alluded to that, I think, pre-Liverpool game. He was due to be fully integrated with the first team squad last week, but was only partially involved with the rest of the group. Instead, he is set to step up his training this week and should make a return to first team action before the international break next month. So again, it's going to be a slow burner for him. So he's back into first team training, I think, this week, which would be great for him, and back into first team action. So first team action is a loose term. You don't know whether that's a start, whether that's coming off the bench. When Amorim changes his centre backs for the last 10 minutes of the game and stuff like that, he'll probably be used as that guy because he's obviously not going to start a game. I don't think they'll chuck him in from the start in any game. And the games that we got coming up until the international break, the next one, like we say, is Brighton, Forest, and Spurs. Tough games. So yeah, let's see. I think Luke Shaw will start all three of them games. But what we could see is Luke Shaw come off in the 80th minute, in the 75th minute, and give Martinez 15 minutes, then give him another 15, and then maybe he might start the third game against Spurs. I don't know, but I think that's beyond him. I don't think he's going to be starting any games until after this international break, and then there's a clean run through till March. FA Cup will start in January as well, so hopefully get a couple more games out of that. But other than that, let's be real, it's gonna take a while. He's been out for so long, and we've got a video of Dr. Andre as well. Shout out to that. Shout out to Dr. Andre going through what he's been doing and the best way to get Martinez back up to speed as well. So yeah, man, I think that's going to be a positive. That's going to be a big positive having him back. When you look at, there was that period of games, innit, people, with Martinez where he was really integral to what we was trying to do. I know we never really got going again, but City away assist for Ahmad, wins us the game away at Fulham. He scored another goal. Anfield scores. There was that little period where he was becoming really important because he does offer you more than Luke Shaw in that position in terms of on the ball. Defensively, Luke Shaw's as good as him, if not maybe more composed. I would probably have the calmness of Luke Shaw than the aggression of Leacher sometimes. Sometimes it really, really works, and it's brilliant for Leacher when he just steps in. He's aggressive, can't get past him, but you'll get a steadier defense with Luke Shaw in terms of how he approaches the game. I think he's, honestly, I always say it, when he's fit and playing consistently, Luke Shaw's all right, man. But what he doesn't give you is what Martinez can give you, and that's on the ball. That's on the ball. He's brilliant. Yeah, Max, shout out Kenny. Martinez. Yeah, Martinez. What he can give you on the ball is very, very important. He's brilliant on the ball. There's passes into midfield, passes into the channels over the top. He's so good on the ball that he's really important. And Ruben really likes him. So I think as soon as he's fit, I think Ruben will go back to him playing there. So yeah, after the break, winnable games flex, Everton, Palace, Wolves. Well, Palace, watch out, mate. But yeah, I hear that. I do hear that, and that's what I'm saying. We're going into a period where if we can just keep picking up these wins in this tough little period here, we could be in a good spot, man. We could be in a very, very good spot. That's what I think. But yeah, I can't wait to see Leacher back. I just know that we have to take our time. You've got to take our time with him. We can't be pushing too much. You got to be chilled, because we don't need him popping down again, breaking down again with another big injury. It's just not going to happen, people. We can't let it run. You know what I'm saying? Can't let it run. Right, big up to each and every single one of you, man. Thanks for joining me on the Solo Flex's views, on the Solo morning view. You know what I'm saying? Big up. I got a video dropping on the Football Flex as well straight after this, so look out for that in around 20 minutes, half an hour's time. A little Arsenal update, because I think we have to discuss them as neutrals. But yes, big up. Like Lil Yoga says, man, drop a like on the way out. Have a blessed day. It's Wednesday, like I said, it's hump day. So enjoy on ourselves. Yeah, we are out of here. Take care, guys. Peace. Just hit my microphone on the way out. Technology has to go wrong somewhere. Peace.